Think about it. Within the trifold, trillions of galaxies and billions of years of absolute silence, you were granted a life, a single chance, a lifetime that will never return. But will you spend this sacred time, every second of which is more valuable than all the treasures in the universe, by waking up before the sun rises, entering those soul-crushing buildings, working under someone else's command just to earn money, while you could be the sovereign of your own existence and the architect of your own dreams? How can you stomach being just another working laborer in someone else's company? How much longer will you continue to sacrifice your own dreams and your own future while building the dreams of another? While your existence is the rarest miracle of the universe, are you really here to sell your life in installments, racing against seconds in a supermarket cashier's chair, wasting away on the roads behind the wheel of a truck, or amidst the soulless noise of a massive factory? The mother who gave birth to you did not endure all that labor and pain just for you to turn into a barcode scanner or an anonymous screw on an assembly line. You weren't raised to be a part of a machine. Right now, at this very second, the world is divided in two: those who claim the honor of their lives and those who rent their lives to the money order. They will tell you there is no other way. They will say, if you have bills, if you have debt, if your child is going to school, you must join this gear. They will use fear like a whip. But take heed, every hour you spend is a piece of your will and your precious, unrepeatable years. A piece that is stolen and can never be reclaimed. When this video ends, you will either tear off that invisible collar choking your neck, or you will wait for your turn behind the bars of this digital prison forever. Slavery is no longer maintained with rusty chains. It is sustained with flashy advertisements, bills that must be paid, and credit cards with approaching due dates. The fact that you don't see your chains doesn't mean you are free. It only means your prison is much wider and your warden is much more professional. The money order wears a different mask in every corner of the world, but its purpose is always the same: to sever the human being from their own productive power and independence, turning them into a debt slave condemned to debt. Let's take a closer look at those global gears. All over the world, couriers are racing toward death, driven by the ruthless minute counter of a phone app. Is a human life and its unfulfilled dreams cheaper than a meal delivery getting cold? Construction workers build palaces for others while wasting their own lives on those dusty scaffolds. Money uproots them from the earth and imprisons them in concrete heaps. Taxi drivers age on the roads every day just to cover the next rent payment or fuel debt. Security guards protect the vaults of others, yet their own futures are completely unprotected. Factory workers are no longer artisans. They have been turned into mere biological fuel used for the flow of financial data. You are not workers. You are energy sources used to feed the insatiable appetite of the system. This money system works like a massive, self-feeding monster. It puts you in debt so that you are forced to work. It makes you work so that you can pay your debt. But this debt never ends, because the system creates money as debt. The more you work, the more debt the system produces. It is a treadmill with no beginning and no end. But the most painful part is this: the system will use you until you are worn out, until it has consumed your soul and your body. And then, as if nothing happened, it will replace you with your own children, whom you raised with your own hands and cherished with all your heart. Where you are exhausted, the slavery of your children will begin. They too will grow old in the grip of the same bills, the same installments, and the same fears. This cycle will continue to bleed humanity dry for generations until you say stop. You must wake up today so that your children's future does not become just another profit margin for a corporation.
Have you ever stopped to deeply question your life? Why do you sweat 5, even 6 days a week just to add wealth to someone else's fortune, only to reserve a single, crump-like day for yourself? Who grants themselves the right to seize nearly your entire life and alienate you from yourself, your family, your hobbies, and your purest passions? What they try to sell you as living is nothing more than a struggle to survive until the weekend. They didn't give you a life, they only gave you enough oxygen to last until next Monday and just enough salary to make it through the next month. This is a modern genocide, not physical, but a temporal genocide. By stealing your time, they are actually stealing your soul and your humanity. Think about it. When you return home exhausted, do you have a single gram of joy left for your child waiting at the door? Or is your mind still hung up on unfinished tasks and unpaid credit card debts? When you wander through supermarket aisles, looking at the price of a single piece of fruit and putting it back on the shelf, you aren't just leaving that fruit there, you are leaving your dignity on that shelf. The money order has brought you to such a point that they make you feel guilty even while trying to meet your basic needs. A father unable to buy a simple toy his child
failed once, or a mother looking at an empty pot in the kitchen, wondering, what will I do tomorrow? This isn't just poverty, this is a direct assassination orchestrated by the system against your dreams and your humanity. Why must you waste the best times of your youth, your most energetic years, behind a desk or at a machine? Throw away that big, poisonous lie they feed you. You'll retire at 60 and finally live your life. Which insurance company, which government can guarantee you will even live until 60? When you reach that age, how much life can you squeeze into the 3 or 5 years you have left? The system takes a whole forest from you and promises you a dried up branch when you grow old. What will you do with that belated freedom when there is no strength left in your knees, when the joy of living has faded from your eyes, and when there are no goals left to chase or people left to laugh with? This system is designed to exploit your freshest, most vibrant, most creative years to the bone, only to toss your tired and sick body aside under the name of retirement. You are not a fruit for them to squeeze the juice out of and discard the pulp. You are a human being, and you must take back your honor. Remember those massive, limitless dreams you had as a child? You left them all on office desks and workbenches, condemned to pay those bills. The true killer of those unfulfilled dreams is that dirty money in your pocket. As you chase money, you are actually digging the grave of your own dreams a little deeper with every step. Your soul deserves much more than numbers in a bank account. Think about it. Did you see your child's first steps, or were you in a meeting at that moment? Were you by your mother's side in her old age, or were you trying to meet a delivery deadline? You are not a machine. Your dreams are too sacred to depend on a bank manager's approval or a boss's mercy. Do not spend your life just to stay alive. Wake up, because what is stolen is not just your time, it is your sacred youth, your fatherhood, your motherhood, and your childhood dreams, the only ones you will ever have. If you don't wake up today, tomorrow they won't even let your children have those same dreams. They will sacrifice them to this exam marathon, this monster of competition, before they even turn 5. They will steal their childhood too.
Why are we in this state? Because they told you, earning money is a basic necessity. They engineered a world where you are dependent on those worthless pieces of paper for your most fundamental rights, shelter and food. They told you, if you don't work, you'll starve. If you don't earn, you'll end up on the streets. With this fear, they forced you every morning to go to those soul-crushing jobs you hate. They condemned you to live a life you never loved. They presented money not as an innocent tool to meet your needs, but as a god that mortgages your entire life. Yet, look around you. No other creature in nature survives because it has to pay money to another. A bird doesn't pay taxes to fly. A tree doesn't pay rent to grow. A lion doesn't pay a licensing fee to hunt. Only the human being is forced to work a lifetime just to buy the key to their own prison. Only man became a slave to these imaginary pieces of paper he created, and celebrated this slavery as civilization. For these scraps of paper, he sacrificed his brother, his neighbor, and his nature. Today, while the food produced in the world is enough to feed all of humanity, why are people still dying of hunger? Because food is no longer a necessity. It has been turned into a product. The right to live has been stripped away from those without money. You were taught that if you don't have a title, a luxury car, or branded clothes, you are a nobody. They put you under such a hypnosis that you became ashamed of yourself every moment you weren't working. When you pursued your hobbies, they made you say, "I'm wasting my time." Even while just looking at the sky and resting your soul, they made you feel a secret sense of guilt. This is the greatest psychological operation in history. They tied your self-worth to the brand of the clothes you wear, the luxury watch on your wrist, and the price of the phone in your pocket. They began to measure your respectability by the model of the car you drive, the neighborhood you live in, and how much money is in your bank account. They condemned you to a system that values you not because you are human, but only by the objects you accumulate and the money you spend. Is a tree worthless in the winter when it bears no fruit? Your value cannot be measured by the surplus you produce for the system or by the labels you wear. You are that unique child whom your mother raised with trembling devotion, wrapping you in cotton to protect you, her eyes shining with joy every time she saw you. She smothered you with kisses and raised you with the purest love. Your mother did not raise you with such immense effort just so you could be a mere number in a bank's payment plan, or so you could be crushed under the insults of a boss, or to waste a life in the shadow of luxury goods. You did not come to this world just to work and earn money, or to pay endless bills, credit card installments, and skyrocketing rents every month. You are not a debt payment machine. You are the purest form of love and labor.
Your life is far too grand and unique to fit into a bank statement. Now, feel this in your deepest core. Why must people fight? Ask a father clutching the lifeless body of his child among the ruins of Gaza, or a mother shivering in the shelters of Kiev. Ask a youth in America crushed under a lifetime of student debt, or a tradesman in Turkey whose back is broken by daily price hikes. Ask a thirsty farmer in Africa, or an elderly person abandoned to loneliness and misery in Europe. No matter what language they speak, no matter what they believe in, they all have one single common expectation in this life: just to be happy. To be able to sit at a table with their family in joy, to see that pure spark of happiness in their child's eyes, smile heartily without the fear of tomorrow or the stress of debt. Humanity doesn't just want to exist, it wants to live happily. Wars are not the result of hatred between peoples. They are the bloody balance sheets of those who control money, the arms dealers, and the central financial powers. They used your feelings of patriotism as a shield for their greed for profit. True peace begins when people break these financial chains and when money is no longer used as a weapon. When will we stop shedding each other's blood for these imaginary debts we created? Remember, where there is money, peace is only an illusion. True brotherhood and true happiness begin only where the reign of money ends.
Televisions are whispering, headlines are shouting. Artificial intelligence will take your jobs. Robots will take over the world and destroy humanity. This is the last and greatest fear game the money order plays to keep the masses in line. They tell you AI will destroy humanity, yet they hide the real truth from you. Today, those who code AI are not using this massive intelligence to grow food in the fields or to cure diseases. They are using it to produce unmanned warplanes, autonomous killer robots, and more perfect war machines. It is not AI that kills people. It is those filthy hands and money-worshipping minds that turn AI into a weapon. AI does not destroy humanity on its own. A machine becomes whatever the intention of its coder is. If you give this intelligence to the service of money and war, it turns into a tool of destruction. But if we code AI to save human dignity, to bring food to abundance, and to liberate humans from slavery, that is when true civilization begins. It is not about the power of technology, but with what morality and for what purpose that power is managed. AI is not our enemy. It is our greatest ally that will allow us to drop that heavy burden of making a living forever. When production shifts from human hands to machines, food, energy, and housing are no longer a cost. Machines do not get hungry. Machines do not get tired. So why are we still being disciplined with the fear of hunger? The answer is simple. So the reign of money can continue over your desperation. The FinTek AI 2050 vision is here to cut this Gordian knot at its root. To put technology at the service of human dignity and happiness, not money and war. Let machines sow the fields and produce in the factories so that we can do philosophy, feed our souls with art, and devote the time they deserve to our loved ones, our children, and nature. Think about it. A world where you don't have to wake up to the sound of an alarm in the dead of morning, where you don't lose sleep over how will I pay the rent this month, is not a dream. It is just one decision away. When we remove money, only human labor and technology remain, and technology is now ready to shoulder that burden of labor. When this video ends, listen again to that ear-piercing alarm sound that tears you away from your deep sleep every morning. Look at that clock again and again. That sound is no longer just calling you to a job. It is actually calling you to an awakening. That clock is the ruthless countdown of your limited life. Do not consume it for someone else to make more profit. Every second that passes is a piece stolen from the moment your child needs you, from the time you could spend at your mother's side, from the freedom of your own soul. Put aside the fake calls for peace and the distracting reforms aimed at protecting the system. By 2050, we must tear this toxic system, this filthy rain of money out of our lives. It is not enough just to take money out of our wallets. We must completely erase it from our minds and our future. It is time to bury these scraps of paper, the greatest virus to ever hit humanity, into the trash heap of history. While machines are powerful enough to produce everything for us, continuing to be slaves to money is not a necessity. It is a collective mental blackout. By 2050, we will either shatter these shackles of debt and wipe money off the face of the earth, or we will perish, unable to breathe in this digital slavery. History does not write about those who bow to their masters, but the heroes who shatter those rusty chains. And remember, the moment you plant the idea of destroying money in your mind and break your invisible chains, 2050 has already begun for you. The sun is rising, and this time that sun is not a fake glare reflected in the glass of office towers. It will be a true light of
freedom that tears through the darkness of money and illuminates your soul and your future. We are determined to expose what else money will steal from humanity and what disasters it drags us into. If you want to be a part of this great awakening, stay tuned. And if you want to change this system from the root and build a future worthy of human dignity, join us. We are here. What about you? Are you ready for this awakening?
We are here. What about you? Are you ready for this awakening? If these words have touched a place in your soul, if you too are tired of being a part of this exploitative order, now is the time to act. This is not just a video. This is the first spark of a mental revolution. Subscribe. Join us to make the voice of this awakening heard even louder. Every new subscriber is a new blow dealt to these rusty chains. Share. Do not just watch this video. Send it to your friends, your family, and your colleagues who are unaware of their own slavery. As knowledge is shared, the darkness of the system dissipates. The awakening of one person loosens the chains of 1,000. Join us. The FinTek AI 2050 vision is not a dream. It is a planned future. Together, we will build a world where not money, but human dignity and the prosperity of technology are spoken of. Raise your voice in the comments, share your ideas, and be a part of this great transformation. Remember, the system expects you to stay silent, only to consume and to obey. Do not give them what they expect. Raise your voice, take back your will, and take your place in this great awakening. The future will not belong to those who worship money, but to those who have the courage to destroy it. FinTek AI 2050. Break your chains, take back your future.